This is the Seller Process Podcast, where we talk about the best systems, processes, and SOPs for your Amazon business so that you can regain control of your time, build up your team, and scale your e-com empire.
Hello, entrepreneurs. If you're looking to expand your brand to brick-and-mortar stores, but you're not sure how to present your products to buyers and make them interested in your brand, then this episode is for you. Our guest today will share with us how to craft a perfect catalog that retail buyers will fall in love with and will want to do business with you. I'm joined today by Aaron Harbidge, the owner of PrimStera Marketing, where he helps small business brands find success on Amazon, and also is the owner of Retail Explosion, where he partners with Taylor Offer to introduce brands from around the world to the USA retail space. Welcome, Aaron. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk, and it's I'm looking forward to talking about catalogs. It's one of my favorite topics.
Awesome. Yes, yes. We had your partner Tyler in this show when we discussed about how to become retail ready. So let's take it a step further now, and we'll discuss catalogs, right? Because that's a very important part of doing business with retailers. Before to start, I want to break the ice because many of the people who are listening, I believe that either never considered to sell in retail stores, or they just started, or maybe some of them they might have already closed some deals. But mostly I'd like to to break the ice, sharing why should online sellers consider selling into physical stores, and what can they expect if they are doing this right?
Yeah, for sure. That's a really good place to start. So when we look at the retail versus the e-com, and because of my background in both, I think I can speak to this, quite competently. When we're thinking Amazon, so a lot of e-commerce sellers, they want to sell on Amazon. Maybe Walmart is one that's coming up pretty fast, but about 85% of sales are still happening in the brick and mortar space. So when we think, oh, Amazon is so huge, there's so much of the e-commerce world happening. Well, that's only about, according to that, and this is according to U.S. government stats. So this is not something we're making up, to promote retail. But about 85% is still happening in the physical retail space, because you can't replace walking in, handling a product, picking up a product, touching it, right? Seeing if it's the right color, how does it look, all this kind of thing. So that's one of the things. The other thing is when you're selling e-commerce, especially on Amazon, you're at the mercy of the Amazon platform. And anybody that's been on Amazon for very long knows that, they can suspend a listing and suddenly you've lost your sales. Or now the latest one is their AI system is changing titles. People's sales are plummeting, right? And they have to open cases and work with seller support to try to change that. We all know how that goes. So I would say the stability of retail is actually a really big drawing card for a lot of brands. The fact that more people are seeing their products, and the fact it's a much more stable platform than the e-commerce platform. I'd say those are two really big reasons to move into the retail space.
For sure. And it's very interesting what you mentioned, because I have two comments on that. First of all, 15%, e-commerce, as you said, it's only 15% of retail sales, which is crazy if you think about it. It's huge, but still like such a tiny portion. And and also that stat, I'm familiar with that stat, and it's an average across multiple categories, right? So actually there are several categories that are less than 15%. So it depends what's your category. Online sales might be even 5%. Okay.
Right.
For some of the categories might be 30%, of course. So it depends on what category it is. Then you might have an even larger market when you sell to offline stores. So that's something to consider, and definitely it's a great it's a great channel to diversify, right? As you said. So definitely very interesting for lots of lots of online sellers to start diving into that. So we spoke about before that the catalog, it's one of the main document that will give us the access to buyers. So let's talk about that. What is the role of the catalog in the process, and when it's needed when do we need to use it in the process?
Yeah, for sure. So the catalog next to your email brief, which we won't get a chance to talk about today, but your catalog, I would say, is one of your top two outreach tools. So other than that email that you're sending out, if you don't have a catalog, the chance of you connecting with a buyer is very, very small. So that catalog is right at the top. There's a very specific way that catalog needs to be created. We've done this with many, many brands, and that catalog is a very specific way to be created. There's a format that should be followed because buyers have very limited time and they want to be able to get the exact information that they're looking for. They want to be able to get it very quickly. And so we've developed a catalog process, a catalog format and layout that catches that attention and is something that the buyers are looking for. And we've done tests with brands with a catalog, without a catalog. And I can say right now that if you're wanting to reach into retail and you're not wanting to put the time in to build a good catalog, you are going to have way less responses than you will with someone who has a good catalog that's well thought out, well laid out, and is ready to put your brand in front of retail buyers.
Cool. Okay, so let's discuss about this layout that you guys created. And by the way, I take the chance to remember people that in every episode we share some free material with the together with the episode that you guys can find in the show notes or in the description of the YouTube video. So in this case, Aaron is sharing with us a checklist of all the points that you must include in your catalog. So go check it out. You can download it, as I said, from our website, thesellerprocess.com. Find this episode in the show notes, or you'll find it in the YouTube video description. Right. So let's go ahead. What are these must-have elements? What is this layout? What does it look like?
Yeah, for sure. So anybody that's looking at the checklist, or maybe you're going to download it after this episode, this checklist only fills up one page. And at first it feels like, that's a very small checklist. Well, actually, there is creative license when you're building a catalog, right? It needs to fit your brand. It needs to be, reflective of who you are. But what this checklist is designed to is zero in on the absolute must-have elements. If you do not have these elements, your catalog is not optimized. And so what I'd like to do is also point out that along with this checklist, we actually have links to a couple catalogs from real brands. These are not just sample catalogs generated by AI. These are actual brands that have been, promoted to retail. And so definitely check those out, because you will see that they go through and follow this checklist as well. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start, with this checklist. First of all, let's say, you already have your branding, you've already got, your colors and that kind of thing. So I'm going to assume that your branding and everything is under control, right? You've already paid attention to branding. That's a whole nother topic. You've paid attention to your color, to your vibe, to your theme. You already know what that is, right? So some of the things that we really see missed in catalogs, and I review catalogs all the time for brands, spelling. Spelling is at the top of our list here. If you have a poorly spelled catalog, it looks like you're an unprofessional brand. And you say, well, that's a minor detail. Why the spelling? Well, it's because when buyers are looking, they're subconsciously picking up on the quality of what you're presenting. And very close to that is the grammar. If you're using the wrong words, and it's very easy to do, even for someone who's a native English speaker, like myself, I'll be writing something out, working on an email, working on a catalog, and all of a sudden I'll go back and read it and I'll say, wait a second, I missed a word, or I missed a part of grammar. And you say, well, is that really that big of a deal? Really? I mean, we're trying to sell to Costco. We want to sell to Macy's. Is it that big of a deal? Yes, it is, because that starts the subconscious perception of the quality of your brand. If you can't spell your catalog properly, if you can't spell the words, if you can't use the right grammar, your brand looks like it's something that's just a flash in the pan, as we like to call it, and it's not worth their time. So it's really that subconscious perception of quality that starts right off the bat, is just as they're starting to cruise through some of the writing. One of the tools that we recommend for that is Grammarly. You can either do a paid subscription or free version. We're not affiliated with it in any way. It's not a, we don't, we're not trying to sell Grammarly, but that is a tool, especially for people from around the world where maybe English is a second language. Pulling out that Grammarly app as you're going through your catalog can be super, super helpful The other thing that I like to recommend is getting someone to read through it out loud. I also teach on writing emails, and just reading that catalog out loud, you'll all of a sudden realize, oh, wait a second, there should be a comma here, or this isn't spelt right. So that's the first two really big spots in this checklist that we put right at the very top.
Okay, awesome. All right. I think yeah, you can feel free to go ahead because the juice is yet to come.
Yeah. All right. So now we have product start on page 2. You would be surprised how many brand owners create their own catalogs, excuse me, and their products don't start until page 4, 5, or 6. And so what happens is that they create their cover page, you go into the catalog, and then you're flipping or scrolling through these virtual pages trying to find where do they start talking about their products. And the buyer gets completely lost, right? They're coming in, they've got 30 seconds or 15 seconds to review this catalog about the other, over the other 20 brands that are on their desk for that day. And we have the brand story. We have talking about why this product is unique, why the brand is unique, all this kind of thing. That's not what the buyer is looking for. When the buyer is first reviewing your catalog, what they're actually really interested in is, what are the products? What do they look like? What's the pricing? What's the information about the products? If that catches their attention, they'll keep on scrolling through, and then they'll read your brand story. They'll take more interest in the uniqueness of your product, but they want to see those products right on page 2. And so in this checklist, you'll see, point number 3 is your product start on page 2. And that's something I can't emphasize enough. At the very latest, you would want your product starting on page 3. So depending on your design, absolutely no later than page 3. We recommend page 2, jumping those buyers immediately into, look, this is what you're getting. This is what it costs. Because when you're reaching out to buyers, you want to get them on a phone call or a Zoom call. And if they lose interest in your catalog because it's just, information and maybe some documentation about the certification that you have, you're going to lose them right away. So point number 4 is also something that we see missing in a lot of catalogs, and again, this is a real turnoff for retail buyers, is you need both your retail and your wholesale prices with each product. So let's say that you have 10 SKUs, you've been selling on Amazon, everything's going great. You're going to create this retail catalog, you're going to reach out to retail, and you say, well, wait a second, I don't want to put my pricing in because I want to negotiate with the retail buyers. Or I don't feel that I have the margins to do a typical 50% retail margin. So therefore, I want to get them on a call and then see if we can't, negotiate price with them. That's not how this works. We see a lot of brands try to do that. That is going to create a lot of failure, a lot of missed opportunities. Put the retail and the wholesale price in with each product. So if you have 10 SKUs, each of those SKUs is going to have the retail wholesale price right beside them. And then, again, that extra story about your brand and whatnot can happen later in the catalog. Buyers are not wanting to start a conversation based on negotiation. That's going to turn them off. They're going on to the next brand where they can actually see the pricing right up front. So even if a negotiation starts down the road, you get them on a call. They say, "Hey, I really love your product. It's just priced a little bit high for us. What can you do?" Well, that's the opportunity there to negotiate. But you have to give them a baseline. If they don't have a baseline, a lot of times they won't even talk to you. The next point
Sorry,
is,
I wanna
yeah,
just interrupt you for a second on that because
yeah,
this
for
is a
sure.
very important part of this checklist. Because as you
Mhm.
said, most people don't put the wholesale price, and it's a little bit counterintuitive sometimes.
Yes.
I'm guessing because that's how I used to do it, and also because you see, I always think about efficiency in the process. So in this case, being a PDF, PPT catalog. I think most people make it through presentation tools. It's much harder to change a price when it's not a spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
So do you suggest having like one single price for all your potential clients and then you negotiate from that, or maybe you can pre-make a number of catalogs with a number of different pricing, and then maybe you just send whatever which one you like. What's your suggestion?
Yeah, it depends on how far into the process you want to get manually. Okay, so first of all, a lot of brands, we say one price for all buyers. So you're going to reach out to Walmart, Macy's, Nordstrom's, whatever it may be. They're all going to have that $10 wholesale price, right? $20 MSRP, $10 wholesale price. if you're wanting to be more involved and really tweak your numbers and spend that time specifically reaching out to individual stores rather than saying put, some stores in an email campaign, then you can do different pricing. Where that might catch you is that you offer a lower price to a certain store and they're not even looking for that lower price. Like there's one brand that we're working with right now, and I don't think we've ever been asked for a discount from their per 50% margins in the whole time we've worked with them. And we've opened multiple accounts. There's POs coming in every month from retail buyers for them. And not one has ever asked for a discount on the pricing. We've sent them one price the whole time, and there we go. So I think I recommend that starting point of one price for everyone. And then, you can even, if they say, oh, the price is too high, you can come back with we're open to negotiation. What would you like to see? Would it be wrong to do separate catalogs with different pricing? I don't think so. A person could experiment with that. You'd have to be very careful in your conversations and follow-ups that you're not getting confused as to which pricing you offered what store.
Yeah. Okay. I see. I see. And you mentioned already a few times 50% off? Is that a common price? Like, do many retailers accept that level of discount, or there are some who, or it's common to go even lower than that?
50% for most retailers is the general average, I would say. I would say that that's kind of that accepted industry benchmark. You are going to have your off-price buyers, so like TJ Maxx and different ones like that, where they're going to come in and say, hey, it's 50%, we want more than that. We want 70% or whatever the case is, right? So dropping your margin down. Usually if it's a straight across off-price buyer, they're also looking at larger orders. And so that's where you as the brand owner gets an opportunity to crunch your numbers and say, something, yes, our margins are smaller, but all of a sudden they just want 1,500 pieces right off the bat, right? They want 1,000 pieces on the very first order. Okay, smaller margins, huge volume, we're good to go. So typically 50% off price is less. If you go to liquidation, that's a whole nother world. And they're offering anywhere from, they want like 80%, 90%, right? Like they're cutting your price way down, but then also your MSRP is going to be a lot lower, right? And if your brand's MSRP for product is $20, that liquidation place might be selling it off for 10, which is your normal wholesale price. But that's the liquidation world. It's different. So typical retail industry standard is 50%.
Okay, got it. That's very interesting and helpful as a metric. Okay. Feel free to go ahead with the rest of the points in the checklist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a great place to stop is talking about that wholesale pricing, because I would say that's probably one of the biggest things that we see when we're reviewing catalogs is that hesitation. Like you say, it's counterintuitive to add that wholesale because you're kind of wanting to hedge on that a little bit. So some of the other things that we see is you need to have high resolution photos. This is becoming more and more important as people become used to high-res images. Back in the day, if something was created on the computer, maybe it was a touch blurry, maybe not quite as clear, wasn't as big of a deal. Now, if you don't have high resolution, it goes back to our points 1 and 2 on spelling and grammar. Subconsciously, it's making your product look cheap. It's making it look of low quality, and they tend to subconsciously categorize you as a cheaper, lower quality brand, which you don't want to do. So make sure that your main photo is high res. Make sure that any of your lifestyle photos are high res. If you're going to blur the background, make sure that the picture in the foreground is clear so that you're actually creating that blurred background effect on purpose, and doesn't look like it was done by accident simply because it's a poor quality photo. You need to have lifestyle photos. So I reviewed a catalog here just in the last couple of weeks, and they had good product photos, but there was really nothing showing the product in use. So the main photo was clear, high res, all that kind of thing. But we couldn't see how the brand owner was envisioning for customers to use it. Now, you say, well, this is for retail buyers. Well, retail buyers are also thinking through, how is my customer going to perceive this? When they see this on the shelf or on the J-hook or in the bin or however this is being sold, how are they going to envision using this product? And so we need to help them envision that. We need to do that work for them by showing these lifestyle photos. So if you have a special kind of dog leash, for example, you're going to want to have some lifestyle photos of people out having fun with their dogs, playing with their dogs. Excuse me. using that dog leash and giving a case scenario for that dog leash in action. And you're going to need that in the catalog. You also want to have those photos showing the features and benefits. So a lot of times, especially if you're coming from the e-commerce world, people are thinking, oh, well, infographics. Infographics in a retail catalog aren't bad, but you want to try to capture the features and benefits in a photo without having to have little callouts to pull it out, right? You want to capture that imagination very, very, very quickly so they can see the usability and the practicality of your product and envision, of course, customers using it. If the buyer cannot envision this product being used, then chances are their customers won't, or they think their customers won't, and they will overlook your product. So that's just a nod to how important photos are. Something else, the next thing here is the size, weight, and SKU. Sometimes the dimensions, of course, dealing with size of the product should be put in there as well. A lot of times we see this missed, especially if you have items that in a picture you can't really tell, what size they should be. I mean, if you have a small coffee maker, usually, those are all a typical size. But let's say you have a different product that has a range of sizes out on the market with different competitors. What size is yours? And the buyer is going to want to know because they're going to be thinking through how is this going to fit on the store shelving? How much space is this going to take? So just include that. It can be in a smaller font. It can be right with the wholesale and retail pricing. We found that works really, really well. You have your MSRP, your wholesale, and then your dimensions, SKU, and that kind of thing right beside it. And that works really, really well. It gives that buyer the information that they need right away to know how it's going to fit in my store. And then something we just talked about here a few minutes ago, infographics can be used. These are separate from your lifestyle photos. An infographic is going to be something that provides extra information, call outs about the features and benefits. You don't want to confuse an infographic with your lifestyle photos. Those are two different things. Photos and infographics are separate. If you have a large number of SKUs, so I know some of the e-com brands, some of you probably listening to this, might have 100 plus SKUs in your brand. If your products are very similar, you can provide a list of some of your hero SKUs and with a link to your website where the rest of the SKUs are shown, but you don't have to include all of them in your catalog. You don't want the buyer scrolling endlessly and then after 10 pages feeling like, there's just so much here. I don't have time to go through it all. Looks good, but I don't even know where to start, right? Don't overwhelm the buyer. I mean, if you only have 10 SKUs, put them all in there. 20 SKUs, put them all in there. If you have 100 plus SKUs, don't put them all in the catalog. What we recommend is picking out your best sellers, the ones that really are relevant and really, they really resonate with your target niche. Put them in there, put the information in there, but then you can have a link to see more of our SKUs or to see a more detailed product list. Go to our website here, or here's a link to our full product list spreadsheet. And you can just put that in the catalog. And in that way, if they're really interested, they have the option to go and find the rest of your products. And last but not least on this particular checklist, make sure that if you have variations, they're shown in a concise and orderly manner. So let's say, in one of the sample catalogs you're going to get a chance to look at, some of the products are all the same, but they have different colors. So let's say you have 10 different colors of a specific product. Let's say it's a home decor product and there's 10 different colors to match different home decor colorings. Make sure that the buyer knows they come in various colors, but keep them in a very orderly manner. So let's say you have your main product photo, comes in 10 different colors. A very common way to do this is just a little circle, at the bottom of the main picture, demonstrating the colors it comes in. If you have the room, sometimes a picture of the actual product just down the side of the page with each of them in their own color is another way to do that. Awesome. And so that's a really brief overview of this checklist and kind of wraps it up. So we can jump into any of those topics for sure.
Great. So yeah, for sure, this is lots of value, guys. Remember that you can download the checklist at thesellerprocess.com. Find it in the show notes or in the description of the YouTube video. Okay, so everything that Aaron just mentioned, you can find it in this checklist. And also there are links to 2 sample catalogs, so where you can see 2 actual catalogs from 2 real brands that follow this checklist. So before we close, I want to go to these are the must-have elements
Yes.
of a catalog, right? I want to touch, some of the, maybe tricks or hacks that you have. Something that what are your suggestions to make it really stand out? Not just looking at the basics, but let's give people some hacks or tips that they can take home.
Yeah, so I think one of those that really comes to mind right off the top, because I know we have limited time here, is the branding. Okay. If you have a product, it's a good product, but the branding is really bland, right? Just really bland. There's no artisticness in it. And this is where not every brand owner is a designer. Okay. And this is something that some brand owners may have a hard time to swallow. I can do everything. I wear all the hats in my business. I know how to do it all. You know something? I recommend hiring a professional designer, a catalog designer, someone who has experience with retail catalogs. And I would say that's a huge hack, a huge tip right there. It usually doesn't cost very much. Even though Talor and I review a lot of catalogs, we don't do the design process ourselves. We have a designer that we send them to and we say, hey, can you come up with a good design? Here's the branding, here's the color stuff. Now use your creativity. And so what you're doing is you're leveraging the experience and the skills and the natural inborn talent of someone who really can focus on making that catalog look nice. There are some brand owners who do it themselves. Typically, that's where we start to see the brand owner mindset kicking in, and a lot of times the catalogs they just look really plain. They don't look super attractive, and it's just that difference between having someone who has a natural artistic talent that they've developed through training and skills, and someone who is just trying to get information out there, which would be a typical brand owner position. So I would say it's the number one. Number one is get someone who really knows how to design, how to use their software, and make it look nice.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, that's great. That's great. So obviously, this is just one little piece of the wholesale process. We
Mhm.
discussed with Talor before how to become retail ready. Today we discussed with you how to build a good catalog. We'll discuss later, maybe with you again or with Talor or some other people. I wanna make it like wanna complete this process, and
Mhm.
so that we can, people can through a few different episodes can learn everything about how to sell on to retail stores. So yeah, we can go back to this later on. In the meantime, feel free to share your contacts so people can find you and know if they would like your help. Where can
Mhm.
they find you? Yeah, what do you do? Just give a little intro and your contacts.
Yeah, for sure. So probably the best way to reach me is by email. So you can reach me at Aaron, so Aaron at retailexplosion.com. And you can look that up, retailexplosion.com. You can reach out to me there. The other thing that if you're really wanting to pursue this retail and find out more about it, we have two ways that you can do that. Or actually, three ways you can do that. You can, book a consultation call with me. You'd reach out by email, say, hey, Aaron, I'd love to book a call with you. And then, I can send you the right link and everything. The other two ways, though, that I would actually really push more than that and really encourage is we have a full retail course with over 60 lessons that has just been produced. And, we can get you in touch with a 50% off discount on that. So a fraction of what you would pay if you were to try to get, online your one-on-one coaching to learn the same thing. So like we're talking over 60 lessons, everything right from branding through pricing, through catalog creation, emails, everything. The other one that a lot of people are finding helpful right now, and we're working with a group on, is what's called a Retail Secrets Mastermind. And again, we have a pretty steep discount on that as well, 50% off right now as well for a limited time. And that's a weekly live call where you can come in. We have a topic each week, but there's also room for questions, answers. We can help you with things that you're working on. So for people that really are that hands-on, kind of do it in a group, learn as I go, and apply it as I go type of person, that mastermind can be a really great way to jump into that and not be overwhelmed by the 60 lesson course. So it really depends on your learning style. We meet both of those. And again, you can find out more. Just email me at aaron@retailexplosion.com and I can fill you in on all the details.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. So take advantage of this. Reach out to Aaron for all the discounts, or if you would like to learn more about how he can help you launch your products to retail stores, this is a huge opportunity. Actually, it's something I'm working on right now. So that's why I was keen to talk with you, Aaron, and share this with everybody, because I think it's a huge opportunity. Once you verify on Amazon that your products are in demand, I think that's the next step to really scale your brand. Because if you go to if you sell over 7 figures on Amazon, like you know that people like your product, and so there is demand. After you see that, I consider it kind of as like a product market fit in the startup world terminology, let's say, right? So you really verified that there is a product market fit. People love your product, so now it's time to expand into real stores, not just Amazon, which is obviously still a great opportunity, but a tiny portion of the overall market. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Aaron.
You can go. Yeah, you bet. You can go. Just one last thing. You can go from
Yeah.
selling 1 or 2 products per customer on Amazon to selling, like I said before, 500, 1,000 products at a shot. So I'll leave that as my closing thought there.
That's great. That's great. Thank you again, Aaron. So guys,
Awesome.
remember, the key to success is to emulate the best. So take home the insights that Aaron just shared with you, and start your journey to build your brand and sell and expand into wholesale. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I wish you a productive week, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Hey entrepreneurs, I hope you enjoyed the episode and learned something from the interview. If you're serious about creating systems for your business, automating processes and building up your team so that you can transfer the tedious daily tasks in order to focus on more high-level strategic tasks and work on your business and not in your business, I've created a guide for Amazon sellers named Capturing Systems and Creating SOPs that you can find at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook, where you will learn how to leverage systems and SOPs in your Amazon business so that you can accomplish more by working less, optimize your time, automate and delegate tasks, and reap the benefits of being a true business owner and not simply an operator in your own business. Go download the ebook at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook and start implementing all the tips and insights that I share with you. And leave us a review or a comment to let us know how the content we are sharing here is making an impact in your business. And have a productive week.